Hey everyone, Dan here. I wanted to look at what might be shaping up to be a really nice recovery play in Carnival Cruise Lines. CCL is the ticker. Uh, Before we get into the video, if you do enjoy any of the analysis videos that I do, or if you enjoy this one, a like is really, really helpful. A subscribe is amazingly helpful. So feel free to do those things if this kind of is interesting and enjoyable to you. So let's get right into it. This is the 1 hour chart with CCL. And I definitely see some interesting things here. To sort of give you a rundown of the color scheme that I have, the red is sort of like what I would consider a stop loss. The yellows are what I consider like warning or caution zones. We'll talk more about that. The green is sort of like here comes the money kind of feeling. And the blue are potential near future price targets. And when I say near future, I typically mean in the coming days or weeks. So not several months out, but several weeks out. Say anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks. So anyway, let's look at the price action as I see it. So this stretches back before this like upswing started toward mid-February. And, we've seen some really nice price action here. The good thing about this uptrend, as far as I'm considered, is it's been really healthy. Meaning, it pushed up quite a bit and then it retraced some, and it pushed up quite a bit more and retraced some. Some of these were pretty big retracements, and obviously right now this has been crushed pretty hard, but that's not completely, but that's in large part contributed from the larger stock market crash that we've seen recently. Crash. Everyone's saying crash. I don't mean to be hyperbolic like that, but the recent sell-off that we've seen in the last couple of weeks. Obviously growth stocks got hit really hard, but recovery stocks are kind of in a similar boat where the ground still feels pretty shaky, I think, for a lot of folks. So they tend to get hit a bit harder now as well. In recovery, obviously I'm talking about from back in the initial sell-off of March 2020, when the pandemic hits, that sort of like spurred that massive downturn and then the massive recovery. But stocks like CCL have continued to struggle because they've had a more lasting impact from the crisis. So anyway, the levels that I see are basically this double bottom here lines up with this uptick, this trend continuation that we saw as this like really big push began. And so I think that this 23.35 level should be considered really, really strong support. In other words, if we fall below that and then it starts to act like resistance, then that's a really troublesome sign if you are bullish on CCL. Because we're sitting right here, if we started to fall through 25.23 and then through 24.31, to me, those are warning zones of like, hey, you should really pay attention to what's happening here because you may want to cut loss quickly, if the price action doesn't look promising. And that's sort of like a game time decision. These aren't like buy and sell signals. These are more like pay attention to these areas because, depending on what happens here, you may want to make sort of like a definitive decision on buy, sell, hold. So I wouldn't be surprised, if we fell back a little bit toward this 25.23, but I wouldn't expect us to go under it and start having resistance at that level. So there's another nice double bottom here that's indicated by that 25.23 mark. So I would be moving on to a degree, and to me, what we'd be looking for tomorrow, and this area here, this like black zone here is all tomorrow. So what I would be looking for is really like a push and like stabilizing in this high 26 zone, because then I think it gives us a good chance to push off into the 27s, maybe have a little resistance there, and then reach up toward 28. So we do have like several close friction zones here, which is sort of indicative actually of like one of those healthier type uptrends that we talked about, because there's a lot of areas of resistance and support. And so just know that like, yes, there's a lot of friction points to get back to 30, for example, but you will have so many levels of support under 30 once you get there that will actually be a much healthier position to be in for the long term. So I'm looking for CCL to get into this green box and show sort of continued signs of strength. I'm not in CCL right now, but if I were considering taking a position, probably what I would look for is a push off of this 2646. What is the level here? 2651 is the level. And get into the green box and probably like try to approach 2724 and get pushed back, and then start another attempt toward 2724. That's probably when I would take my position, because that to me is a good sign of strength. If it hits this 2724, which is the next level of resistance above the green box, and gets pushed off of it a little bit, and doesn't fall back through the box, but starts to push up toward 2724 again. And if it bounces off of 2724, that sort of indicates that the chart that we've drawn here is probably pretty intact, and we can have a little bit more faith in the chart as it's been drawn. If we do have like a big market sell-off again tomorrow, I would be looking at 25.23 to hold up, and again that would give us additional confidence that okay, this chart is like pretty well intact and we should feel pretty confident about it. So yeah, that's what I'm looking for to enter position. Another good sign, I guess I would say, is if it pushes off of the green box and gets to 27.24 and just starts sort of like going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, sort of fighting that zone and just sort of like consolidating in that area. To me, that would be a really good sign, because then it might have a slight dip down to the box again and then shoot up to this 27.97 zone. So there's my case for CCL. Watch out for those yellows and those reds below, but the chart to me is looking pretty good, and good luck if you're in this or if you take a position, and I'll keep you posted on my Twitter, as the days and weeks go on, to see if I take a position and sort of what I'm seeing there. All right, thanks for watching. I will see you all in the next video.